Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a major update today about AOC that you do not want to miss. She just got absolutely exposed big time, and now we are seeing major consequences with AOC come out as the truth gets exposed. So we're going to dive into all of this, but before we do, we're going to read scripture and pray because God comes first. Amen? So comment amen down below if you believe that God comes first. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Amen. So leave the word amen in the comment section down below. And thank you to everyone who has begun investing in the stock market. So many of you have messaged me saying that your investments are up thousands of dollars. We are now running a 90% off sale on the Invest Like Trump program. The link is below, or you can type in thefinanцezone.org. And when you sign up, you will get up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. AOC collapses on bad news as Trump releases fiery updates on Dems, guys. Let's tune in.
Self-proclaimed socialist AOC just tried to throw President Trump under the bus on live TV, and it totally backfired. Even the mainstream media was left scratching their heads about her lies and the way she tried to deflect from being one of the top leaders of the socialist movement.
And this comes on the Stephen Gardner Show. Go check him out too.
Iran has new demands for Trump as their economy literally falls into some of the worst inflation on planet Earth. And Trump points out something about Democrat stronghold Chicago that made even me go, wow, it's really, really bad. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. I really appreciate your support. Let's jump right in. Congresswoman AOC was asked two questions this weekend. Are you in fact running for president of the United States, since you are in second place when it comes to Democrat polling? And are you still a member of the New York branch of the Socialist Democrat Party? She said, I haven't ruled out running for president, and we'll see where things go. But yes, I am still a member of the Democrat Socialist Party. Now, the host, Jonathan Karl, who said he doesn't like Trump, but honestly admits Trump is the most accessible president in his entire journalism career, he asked AOC why she stands with socialists, and then gives a long list of all of the horrible things that they want to do to this country should they come into actual power. Listen to how she deflects from his question and then tries to blame Trump and lie about Trump.
I was looking through the DSA program, and this is the national program. I'm sure you've seen the document. It was adopted just a few months ago.
Defund the Department of Defense, close overseas military bases, abolish police and prison system, grant amnesty to all immigrants.
But some of the positions here: defund the Department of Defense, close overseas military bases, abolish the police and prison system, grant amnesty to all immigrants in the U.S., replace the Supreme Court and executive judiciary with a chosen by lower to Congress, abolish the Senate, public ownership of corporations and essential industries. I mean, those are some positions that you're going to be hearing a lot about this fall from Republicans.
And I think we're also going to be hearing a lot about Donald Trump's commitment to getting us into a reckless war in Iran, his collaboration with big companies to make sure that everything from groceries to rent stay sky high. And I think that people are less interested in these academic debates, and they're more interested in how we're going to bring their bills down and make sure that they can afford to see a doctor.
All right, so she's high up in this socialist movement and wants to get rid of the border. She wants to get rid of the military. She wants to bring more immigrants into the country while at the same time granting immediate amnesty to over 40 million immigrants that are inside the United States right now, not just the 20 million that came in under Biden. She wants to get rid of the Senate, not just the filibuster, and she openly advocates for abolishing the Supreme Court, saying that it's wrong and broken and it's not doing any good. Those are all facts. Now, she can't defend them, and she then tries to make it Donald Trump's fault. Yeah, I guess I'm not shocked that she tried to make her beliefs and behavior Donald Trump's fault. This is like the number one fallback that Democrats use when they literally have nothing else. Donald Trump. So it's a big lie. She says Trump has worked with U.S. companies to make your life more expensive. Like he's literally having secret meetings with CEOs in the White House Oval Office to make your life more expensive. I mean, first of all, for almost 30 years, Democrats said they were going to lower your prescription drugs. Trump did that. Democrats talked about bringing down inflation. Democrats ran it up to the highest level since World War II. Democrats gave thousands of dollars every single month in food stamps to illegal immigrants while our seniors and veterans wondered how they were going to afford groceries. Democrats gave illegal immigrants free housing or apartment vouchers where they were literally competing with working Americans using free government money, or rather stolen government tax money. And what did that do? That drove the price of rent 30 to 60% higher depending on the city. Democrats promised affordable health care. They have not delivered. Gas was higher under Biden than it was when we're literally fighting one of the biggest wars since World War II. And literally this war is over the main commodity of oil, and it was still higher under Joe Biden. So she's a socialist, a liar. She cannot back up her ideas, and even the left-leaning media is no longer giving her a pass.
Wow. Now, the truth about AOC is getting exposed on the Benny Johnson show. Let's tune in, guys.
Ticket to the bank. AOC will be the Democrat nominee for president in 2028. We can just feel it in our bones. We know the direction the party is going to move, and that's who they have selected. And that selection is going to come with some major problems because, like any young leftist today, AOC lives a life of contradictions. She's a socialist and a communist in a capitalist society. She's not even from the Bronx, but it gets even worse. She drives a Tesla, even though Elon Musk is evil. She voluntarily bought one and charges at a Tesla station inside of her building that's owned by Amazon. She chooses to live above a Jeff Bezos-owned Whole Foods in Washington, D.C. Check that, it's true. And inside of that fancy apartment, she chooses to engage with the space-age technology that comes with such a posh location.
I'm told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived.
Is that really true? Because we went to AOC's house where she grew up in Yorktown Heights, a leafy, beautiful suburb, 2 hours north of the Bronx, where she claims to be from. And there were garbage disposals there. But anyway, a life of contradictions. Like AOC says that she wants to defund the police, yet she wantonly got arrested by the police a few years ago and then used fake handcuffs. You can see here her fist of power, even though she had her hands behind her back. The theater kids, ladies and gentlemen. It's a crisis. And this is the real crisis. Because for all AOC's conversations about colonization and white supremacy, boy, she chose to date for the last 20 years and now has been engaged for 4 years to one of the whitest people to ever live. This is Riley Roberts, AOC's male pattern balding, low T, very soylent left-wing boyfriend who's here to sit and film in the corner, right, and be dutiful young man who's definitely not going to impregnate AOC because she just froze all of her eggs. And maybe you can see why here. Seems like a personal issue.
Okay, now President Trump has come out to address the nation, so let's listen in.
You better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. You know, if we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, and I actually did listen to President Trump, and I did start investing in the stock market. And over the past year, my investments are up over $90,000. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, very beginner friendly, step by step and easy, you can go to thefinanceZone.com. socialist.org, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can just scan this QR code and get started in a couple of minutes. Even one of you guys messaged me saying that your investments are up over $13,000 after taking the program. And right now, we have a 90% off sale that ends today, up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. I go over which stocks that Trump has, which stocks that I'm buying, how to set up an account for the very first time, and I also go into depth about how to take advantage of this time we're in while Trump is still president. It's not too late.
But it also is a major personal issue to every left-winger who constantly marrying white men. Pretty amazing here. Quite a trend here of left-wing libtards marrying white people. Boy, I didn't actually know it was this bad. Uh-oh. Okay. White men are inherently evil and racist. Yep. Except for my white man. So anyway, you obviously saw that AOC froze her eggs, right? And she lifted up her shirt, exposed her belly on her Instagram. Everybody pay attention to me and gave herself a little shot. It was incredibly sad because everybody said, well, wait a second. Where's your live-in boyfriend, longtime 20-year-old boyfriend? And she's been dating this guy for 20 years. Did you consult him? Did you talk with him? Like, did she just find out on Instagram that you're going to freeze your eggs at the ripe age of 36, the non-ripe age of 36? Did he have any say in the matter here? You're making a video with your dog, who's also neutered. So maybe it's a trend. I'm not sure. But now the internet is all awash in one speculation about AOC doing this in order to simply pander to young women for the 2028 election, or then potentially to also commit fraud. Now let's talk about that. AOC shares candid video about deciding to freeze her eggs. She'll accept political risk to show other women her journey. So it's an act, ladies and gentlemen. It's an act. You've had a man available to you, loosely defined, for the better part of the last 20 years, yet you haven't gotten pregnant. Why is that? Why isn't AOC married after being engaged to Riley Roberts for 4 years? Well, because she's hiding his finances from the public. That's why. So long as they remain legally unmarried, Roberts' stock trades remain a secret. Oh, my. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Is that what's going on here? Well, there are competing theories. Because this reporter for the Washington Free Beacon was quote tweeted by this reporter for Puck News, chief Washington correspondent, mostly on the Hill. This is like a legitimate outlet. Good outlet. This is not like some rando on the internet. Saying AOC and Roberts broke up about 2 years ago. Perhaps that's why she's freezing her eggs. Oh, no. So which is it? We're not exactly sure. AOC announced the news of her engagement in 2002. AOC on her fiance's reaction to her decision to freeze her eggs and go public with the process on Instagram. So apparently she did give a reaction. Let's listen to this.
But I also think that, I think what's so important, I think, in this moment is that women were often taught to keep this information very quiet and very private. And everyone has that choice. And I think a lot of us would prefer for that. But I also think that when you want to make those kinds of decisions, you really benefit from hearing from other women and from destigmatizing it. And that's kind of what I've...
Yeah, but what about your husband?
...in this process. And yeah, everyone, all of my loved ones have been very supportive. Thank you.
What about your husband, though? Where's your husband? I mean, it's your fiance. They got engaged in 2022. So did they break up? Is that true? Community Note says multiple recent reports confirm that AOC remains engaged. So we're not sure about that, but we are sure about this, that because of these rules, AOC can hide her husband's financials from the American public if they are not married. House Ethics Committee slams AOC's manipulation of the rules to shield spouses' financial affairs from the public. AOC's partner, Riley Roberts, is a spouse to secure free gifts, but not when it comes to financial transparency. So they actually swap him, whether he's her spouse or simply her live-in boyfriend, sometimes fiance, depending on what they need him to be. Interesting. House Ethics Committee slammed AOC for simultaneously claiming that her longtime partner, Riley Roberts, is and isn't her spouse. The committee's rebuke stemmed from a lengthy explanation AOC attorney provided to justify the New York lawmakers' acceptance of free tickets for Roberts to attend the Met Gala. At this time, it was a gift Ocasio-Cortez could only accept for her legally married spouse. But AOC has never been legally married. She lived with Roberts since 2016. The pair became engaged in 2022, but there's no evidence that the couple legally tied the knot. There hasn't been a picture wearing her engagement ring. AOC hasn't been pictured wearing her engagement ring in public since 2023. Despite that, AOC says Roberts is considered a spouse in the Ethics Committee, but he's only considered a spouse in context of campaign finance law. AOC has also used the statute to grant her partner several privileges typically afforded only to legally married spouses of lawmakers. That includes securing Roberts a free ride, gifted travel to Japan, South Korea, and also a spouse pin. But here, there are some drawbacks to being a congressional spouse, such as having to disclose one's source of income and financial holdings. Roberts isn't subjected to those, explained the committee. That's because under the committee's financial disclosure, Mr. Roberts is not considered a spouse. Say the couple hasn't taken the steps to bring that law or religion into their relationship. Oh, okay. So she doesn't have to disclose any of his financials. You can see how convenient that would be when you're running Ilhan Omar level accounting services here, right? And so she's bending the rules one way or another. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought was going on here. Much of the speculation about AOC's boyfriend is commitment phobic or stringing her along to avoid marriage. Nope, that's not how somebody like AOC operates. She and her man are using a loophole for financial secrecy. If this is true, the SEC and the DOJ should go after her for financial insider trading. Be a shame if some IRS employee leaked the tax returns like they leaked Trump's. Nancy Pelosi crawled so AOC could fly. Why is she freezing her eggs and not getting married? Cash. That's right. Monitoring the situationship. You can read the ethics report right here, ladies and gentlemen. And you can also sort of feel bad for AOC, I guess. She's complaining that her $8,000 egg freeze procedure cost, she had to save up for years for this. She spent years saving up for this procedure, and it's not likely to work. Bloomberg Business, freeze your eggs, free your career. What happened to this lady who was the literal poster child for freezing your eggs to become a boss babe? 2 eggs failed to survive the thawing process. 3 more failed to fertilize. 6 embryos. 5 appeared to be abnormal. The last one was implanted in her uterus in the morning of March 7th. She got the devastating news that it had failed too. The poster child, again, for freeze your egg, free your career, boss babe, when she realized her chances of having a genetic child dropped to 0, she screamed like a wild animal, throwing books, papers, and her laptop and collapsing to the ground. It was the worst days of my life. There were so many emotions. I was so angry. I was ashamed. Why me? What did I do wrong? Well, you put your career over your actual happiness. And that's always a mistake. So remember that when you're voting for somebody, especially if they're doing that to run for president. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
Look at this is going viral right now. AOC breaks up with her fiance, posts a video about freezing her 36-year-old eggs, and then drops this thirst trap video today. A tale as old as time. We all know how this ends. Take a listen, guys.
So I'm on my way to do my last strength training and lifting session, and let's go. So
yeah, that is a thirst trap, if you know what that means. You're basically begging at this point. AOC is freezing her eggs and documenting the process. She's been with the same man for 15 years, no history of fertility issues. She doesn't actually want kids. This is a publicity stunt because she wants to run for higher office. That's crazy, guys.
If you've been online this weekend, you've probably seen AOC has started freezing her eggs. Let me say what no one wants to say out loud. This is one big publicity stunt.
Okay, now President Trump has come out to address the nation, so let's listen in.
But let's talk about Iran first. Iran, I'm looking at your numbers now as I speak. I mean, the market's up. We're going to be at 50,000.
And over the past year, my investments are up over $90,000. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, very beginner friendly, step-by-step and easy, you can go to theFinanceZone.org, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can just scan this QR code and get started in a couple of minutes. Even one of you guys messaged me saying that your investments are up over $13,000 after taking the program. And right now we have a 90% off sale that ends today, up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. I go over which stocks that Trump has, which stocks that I'm buying, how to set up an account for the very first time, and I also go into depth about how to take advantage of this time we're in while Trump is still president. It's not too late.
AOC is almost 37 years old. She has been with the same man for 15 years. If she wanted to have a kid by now, she would have had one. She has no record of fertility issues, and she's still not saying that right now. She's saying she wants to freeze her eggs because she's not ready. I have seen IVF and egg retrievals up close and personal with friends and colleagues of mine. Some of them have spent $50,000, $60,000. They try again and again and again, and it doesn't work. It puts a strain on their relationships. AOC is a professional actress. She's almost sociopathic. She's very strategic. She wants power. She's probably going to run in 2028. So the night before her first big TV interview in almost 6 weeks, she announces she's doing an egg retrieval as a woman, and women are under attack in this country because of President Trump and the Republicans. AOC is known around Washington for being very curated and strategic with her public image. In fact, over the past year, she's only done 5 major television appearances, which is very bizarre for a taxpayer-funded member of Congress. So slap my knee and call me Shirley. It seems a little calculated that AOC goes on TV this morning to say she started her egg retrieval. She's going to be this fighter for women who are under attack right now over bodily autonomy. AOC does not like children. She does not want children. If she wanted a kid by now, she could have had one single child by now. The only reason she is doing this is because she has probably seen the polls and the focus groups that Americans will not vote for a woman without a child for president. She does not actually want a child, so she's going to have to show you, look, I'm in the process of doing IVF. I might do it someday, so you feel sorry for her, so maybe you come along with her. She seems authentic. She seems real. She seems relatable. The only president we've ever had without children was President Buchanan. This is something Hillary and Bill Clinton understood very well. That's why they had one child, Chelsea, and called it a day. He went back to interns and philandering, and she went back to her pantsuits and traveling the country with her assistant, Huma Abedin. There are millions of women out there who are struggling with fertility. Maybe they want kids and they haven't found the right guy, whatever's going on in their lives. AOC is trying to harness all of that and twist it and use it for political points. She is a professional actress and influencer, okay? Do not be fooled by AOC and her little egg retrieval performance she is doing now. She does not want kids. She wants to ascend in politics. All right.
Whoa, so that's crazy.
I love all of you, whether you have kids or not, you have value.
That's a really gnarly breakdown that guy has.
Now, President Trump is a true master troller. He just dropped a truth bomb that is so crazy and incredibly sad. President Trump just correctly pointed out that more people have been shot in the Democrat stronghold of Chicago than during the U.S.-Iran war, like the biggest conflict since World War II. So sadly, we've lost 13 soldiers, but 273 shootings and dozens of murders in Democrat Chicago. Chicago is literally more dangerous under Democrat leadership than an entire war of like 70,000 soldiers, aircraft carriers, battle units, drones, helicopter, like all of that. It's more dangerous to live in Chicago. Let that sink in for a minute. President Trump is literally trying to pull attention to the Democrats. It's not to the Republicans. We already see it. He's trying to point out to people that live under Democrat leadership, your leaders suck. They've literally betrayed you. And it's more dangerous to live there than it is on the battlefield in Iran. Now, speaking of Iran, here is an incredible update. Iran is hurting, but they still want to play stupid games. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued demands today. America must end the war, lift the naval blockade and sanctions, withdraw 100% of their forces, release all the frozen assets, and pay them billions and billions of dollars in damages, and then maybe they will open the Strait of Hormuz. But then they said, and even then, it won't be permanent. These guys are really stupid. Now, Iran's foreign minister says, even an Oman shipping deal does not mean Hormuz will remain open. Iran wants control, terms, repayment, as the world watches the oil markets. Now, gratefully, they've held pretty steady. But these guys are coming in with, this is what the Democrats do. These are called poison pills. So they've literally injected poison pills into the negotiations with President Trump because they don't want a deal. At the same time, their inflation is at like 90 to 100%. We're complaining in America about 4% inflation. Imagine 100. That's insane.
Wow.
Now, President Trump said Iran is in bad financial shape. The counter blockade restricts oil exports as the regime faces high inflation and trouble paying their military bills. This is the pressure that President Trump wants to put on them. Iran's leaders want Washington to blink first, but maximum pressure matters, and this is what Trump is best at. Every game, every negotiation he plays, it's always with maximum pressure and maximum leverage. So he's not going to reward a regime that keeps attacking oil ships. He's not going to reward a regime that cannot commit, even if he gave them everything, that the Hormuz Strait stays open. Listen to this incredible update.
Are making new demands. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued a fresh statement this weekend calling on the United States to permanently end the war and compensate Iran for damages before the strait would reopen. This comes as Iran's foreign minister says even if a deal is reached, it doesn't necessarily mean the strait will stay open.
We have been discussing the temporary route, and we are very close to reaching a conclusion. Work is being carried out based on the maps of this route. Prepared by the armed forces, negotiations have taken place between the navies of the two countries, and the details are being finalized. I believe we will be able to conclude these negotiations very soon.
Conversations about the strait come as the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. President Trump told Axios today, we are low-keying it. We are only semi-negotiating with them. The president went on to say, we are just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact they have no money.
Wow, that is crazy, guys. Okay, take a look at this. AOC is getting absolutely annihilated right now, so let's take a listen, guys.
That coming up, but first, AOC to the rescue. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, with each passing day, it becomes more clear. Socialism is a runaway train that's threatening to derail the Democrats' big dream of retaking Congress in November. So why is this happening? Because the true believer socialists advocate policies and approaches that are very unpopular, and to the average person, very scary.
Mandami's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize property, it's over, and impoverish the white middle class.
Beast mode. I love her so much. She's awesome.
Beast mode. Well, that was the guy El Sayed decided to hang out with at the pool on the final day of the campaign, don't forget. No wonder Haley Stevens won more working class voters. They saw this nightmare coming in Michigan. And they know that Medicare for all is not about health care at all. It's about empowering Washington bureaucrats with more of your money.
Some Americans worry, though, you can only make Medicare free and universal if you increase taxes. So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
I am for taxing billionaires their wealth. For the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee who gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks,
after you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine instead of paying that to your health insurance company, whose CEO makes $20 million a year, instead you paid a little bit more in taxes for healthcare.
Oh, just a little bit more. Notice how he blinks more than anyone I know. That's a sign. A little more for your health care. That's all he says you're going to pay. Well, then you're going to be involved with the government, right? Ever try to get your Social Security card replaced from the government or get someone on the phone at the IRS? Well, it's not fun. And now imagine reaching out to the new Medicare for All office when your health is on the line. No thanks. Because more power in Washington always means less freedom for you. That's the main deliverable of socialism. It's a total inverse of what they promise. And as the Dispatch notes, reliable polling shows that there's no avoiding the fact that democratic socialism just isn't very popular, except among those Democrats who occupy the far left quadrant of the ideological spectrum. Quite simply, liberals like it, while almost everyone else, including moderate Democrats, are either negative or still making up their minds. So no matter how many embarrassing sorority girl videos El Sayed posts on Instagram to distract the voters, if Michiganders believe that at his core, he's a socialist, well, he's going to lose big time to Rogers. Savvy Democrats understand this, which is why AOC decided to end her 2.5-year absence from Sunday shows to give everyone their talking points on this. And it was more like kind of speed dating over at ABC than an interview.
So you have Wisconsin coming up next. Francesca Hong, who is the Democratic Socialists of America supporting candidate for governor. You haven't endorsed her. Are you going to?
No, I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress, winning back the House, and positioning ourselves to have the best chance possible to win the Senate. So I've been focused on those legislative races.
What do you make of the...
Yeah, oh, that's pretty strange.
Yeah, and look at this. She admits she is still a member of Democratic Socialists of America. This agenda would destroy this country, says Benny Johnson. We are witnessing a communist takeover of the Democratic Party.
Are you still a member of Democratic Socialists of America?
Of the New York City chapter.
The New York City chapter, not the national?
No.
And what's the difference?
So every DSA chapter is formed locally.
Yeah.
And so the New York City DSA chapter, those are folks that you know. It's kind of like your local union chapter.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, because are you still a member of?
And yeah, she says, and yeah.
It's a battleground state, Wisconsin. It's key to 2028. But of course, the truth is AOC knows that Hong is a terrible candidate, and she's not very bright, which reflects badly on AOC if she goes on to lose. Of course, ABC's follow-up was the bare minimum.
The abolished prisons, abolished police, which is also positions that have been taken by a lot of the progressive candidates who have won.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get around that? I mean, those are not positions that are supported by...
Right. I mean, I think that a lot of these races, even right now, they'll have a tendency to be nationalized.
Yeah.
But these races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, thanks. He should try out for the WNBA, Jonathan. I like Jonathan Karl, but that's a nice assist of a female player. Good job. But the entire approach and the entire purpose of this interview was not to demonstrate a careful rethinking of these bad socialist views, but instead, AOC with Jonathan Karl is kind of working to rebrand the movement.
I have a local city councilman that has this saying woke one was crazy.
Did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
During this time, and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the Overton window. The doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. During lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today.
That's it. The George Floyd riots during the Summer of Love caused billions of dollars in damage, resulted in the deaths of as many as 25 people nationwide. It destroyed businesses, injured police, destroyed recruiting of police. And she thinks she can wash it all away 6 years later by saying the equivalent of oops. Well, sure, if the interviewer lets her get away with it, with open-ended questions and zero meaningful follow-up.
What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy, and we believe in the ballot box.
Socialism, pro-democracy. Actually, let her get away with that. This is a classic CYA. Now, the question is, who is allowed to vote in this new socialist world? Anyone who crosses the border. And will there be a Senate to actually vote for? Not according to the DSA's platform, which includes a plan to essentially dismantle how we've run our government for 250 years. So the question remains, is AOC's stature within the party, within the socialist movement, big enough to blunt the toxic truth of what socialism really is? Well, Andrew Cuomo, he doesn't think so.
You have seen a surge for the quote-unquote DSA, Democratic Socialists, in the party. That is short-term. I think it's unsustainable. When you ask the DSA to get past the superficial, they don't have anything to say. The more they talk, the more Americans they turn off, and the more Democrats they turn off. If I was their attorney, I would say, stop talking.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with Cuomo, but he's right. And if AOC thinks that El Sayed can win simply by bathing in her reflected glory, she may not be as smart as her consultants tell her she is.
I can tell you, black folk in the working class don't like the socialists. Abdul's got a lot of work to do. By the way, I talked to a Republican strategist.
Who's this guy? And can we stop, identifying people by their color? Black folk. Dude, this is so weird, right?
Who said, and he promised me, that they're going to make Hassan Piker as famous as Donald Trump in that state. I don't understand at all why Abdul is palling around with him.
Because El Sayed is a dud who never took the medical boards. And he thought Piker could get the college kids and the liberal Karens to like him, to vote for him. And they did. That's why. Now, over the weekend, another former Clintonite threw in the towel on his old party. Julian Epstein and I used to spar during our MSNBC days, but the socialist whack jobs aren't what he bargained for.
The lunatics are in charge of the asylum. There is no room in the tent for people that want to destroy our Constitution. There's no room in the tent for people that want to align themselves with radical Islam. There's no room in the tent for people that want to align themselves with anti-Semitism. This is where the party's going. This is not a party I want to have anything to do with.
They're dropping like flies. Now, as we've told you for many years, AOC is the thought leader for the modern Democratic Party. It's not even close. And it's not surprising that ABC would call on her to defend the Democrats after weeks and weeks of craziness from the left. And she did the best she could. I believe that. But even AOC, with all her charm and all her talent, cannot hide the fact that her party has mostly given up on the United States of America, on its people, on its Constitution. And they're demanding a new and radical system where they can rule forever, like their heroes in China and maybe Cuba. That's the real crazy. And it's not going away until it's beaten, and beaten badly, at the ballot box. And that's the angle.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News links.
Look at this. Okay, now President Trump has come out to address the nation, so let's listen in.
What are your top priorities now for the economy for the rest of the year?
To be honest, we are doing so well. You look at this. I hit the 50,000 Dow mark, which everyone said couldn't happen in 4 years. I did it in 1 year. I hit the 7,000 S&P mark in less than 1 year. which was a number, as you know, you reported it. They said if at the end of 4 years you hit those numbers, I did it at the end of a year.
Yeah, and I actually did listen to President Trump, and I did start investing in the stock market. And over the past year, my investments are up over $90,000. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, very beginner friendly, step-by-step and easy, you can go to theFinanceZone.org, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can just scan this QR code and get started in a couple of minutes. Even one of you guys messaged me saying that your investments are up over $13,000 after taking the program. And right now we have a 90% off sale that ends today, up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. I go over which stocks that Trump has, which stocks that I'm buying, how to set up an account for the very first time, and I also go into depth about how to take advantage of this time we're in while Trump is still president. It's not too late. What do you guys think about AOC? Thank you for watching. God bless. You guys are the best.